Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie on the 28th of May 2024 with the Astro News, with the Astro Weather for this coming week, starting today and going until June the 3rd, next Monday. So much is on these days, actually, and it all started with Jupiter entering Gemini on Saturday. That was Saturday, the 25th of May, and Jupiter will be in Gemini until June the 9th, 2025. Yes, Jupiter is typically 1 year and a few weeks in a sign and hasn't been in Gemini since 2012, 2013. Everybody with Gemini energy, whether by sun, moon, planets, ascendant, nodes, or even Jupiter itself, has this year quite a boost of this specific energy of Gemini. You can expect that. So what's that all about? Gemini is all about learning. And yes, I should also say, of course, even if you don't have Gemini in your chart, in the house of your chart, in the segment of your astrological birth chart where Gemini is, that's where Jupiter travels this year, enhancing the themes there and helping you to grow and understand via Gemini factors and activities. What is that? Learning. It's all about learning, communication, and reading, writing, seeing also the world from a rational place, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the messenger. Mercury rules our brain and our voice, also our intellect, right? And our thought forms. So we can also, with Jupiter in Gemini, outgrow old thought forms. And we can be super creative, we can be super expressive, expansive when it comes to writing, reading, storytelling, and especially truth telling. That's very Jupiter in Gemini. And that can really help disseminate information. So if you have something to say, if you have something to write, if you've been waiting for a boost of energy that can help you maybe publish something or do some public speaking, all of that, Jupiter is excellent for that. So we will see even more influx of information, hopefully for the better, not just for more and for more junk, so to say, right? But actually improvement. Jupiter wants improvement of the information that's available, which can shed new light in a more holistic way at situations we haven't fully understood yet. And Gemini is also an alchemist, so it can also help us bring diverging and even polarized positions together, bring them to the table, literally or symbolically, so that their discussions can be had and new dialogues and a new synergy. It's a synergy of polarities is very Gemini, right? It's about this and that, the yin and yang, the masculine, feminine, and all that follows from the symbolism. So if you have felt also somewhat split, right? That can be also Gemini, being of two minds, of two hearts, or at two places at once in a way. So hard to reconcile these two sides of you or different options you have. Jupiter can help you understand it better and hopefully synthesize or making a good choice and moving forward. So everything Gemini is currently started 3 days ago, now enhanced. And not only through Jupiter, also through more Gemini energy coming in. We're in Gemini season, and also Mercury will enter Gemini on the 3rd. So that's next Monday. And that will be a short trip, only from the 3rd to the 17th. Mercury has been a really long time, remember, in Aries in March March to May, and due to the retro phase of April 1st to 25th. So in Taurus, much shorter and even shorter now in Gemini, because Mercury is moving from Earth's perspective really fast. And that is also apropos Gemini. So there's a lot of information again coming in. We can also, when if in case you've been waiting, right? Mercury's still in Taurus, the last week in Taurus now. Maybe you've been patiently waiting for communication to happen, even, right? And connections to happen on this more mental, intellectual, and communicative realm. Gemini can really help us all speed this up and get in touch and talk to people, figure things out together, not just sitting on things like with Taurus. Yes, so more swift energy and more air element is coming in. Air element has been only represented by Pluto lately, up to when Venus entered Gemini on the 21st, I believe, of May, and then the Sun. They pretty much entered Gemini together. Well, Venus entered on the 23rd, actually, last week, on the day of the full moon, and the Sun entered on the 20th. So now we're shifting a lot out of that earthy Taurian field into the Gemini world of thoughts, of mental impulses, of communication, of ideas, but also more the abstract realm. So it can be very conceptual versus tangible energy out there. So it's also awesome to get in touch with people and talk about things, sort things out together, maybe also in a lighter way, in a less attached way. Taurus could have been kind of a bit obstinate and attached to positions, and with Gemini there's more curiosity, more information that can change the picture, especially with Jupiter. And so then, as I said, Mercury will join next Monday. And so what else is going on this week? There are a few connecting points between planets happening, called conjunctions. So the first is tomorrow, the 29th of May. That will be the conjunction of Mars and Chiron. So Mars in Aries will meet Chiron. I show you that also for illustration on the chart for Jupiter having entered Gemini. So where am I going? Here? Oh, here. Here's maybe better. So to side. So you see here this whole Gemini, late Taurus, early Gemini conglomerate with Jupiter, the prime factor. And then here you see in Aries, Mars about to meet Chiron. That will happen tomorrow. The North Node is also in Aries, while the South Node is in Libra. What's that all about? Mars has a 2-year cycle and was in Aries 2022, 2020, 2022, and now 2024. And each time it also met Chiron, who's been in Aries already since 2019. So we've seen, especially we've seen a lot of medical wars and medical emergency and warfare in this whole medical dynamic with Chiron in Aries in the early years, 2019, 2020, especially till 2022. And lots of battle wounds in that regard. And Mars has been also fierce warrior energy, kicking that whole Chiron, the wounds that are showing up right now, especially when you look at the wounds of 2022, literally in the Ukraine war, and now next level war with Gaza, right? And we had new attacks just reported from Rafah, I believe. And so there we really see how this violence, how this belligerent war energy, the warrior, the low level warrior vibe, low vibrational, just attacking and killing. And so that energy of warrior We don't need more of this is really the wound of our time, but we need warriors, more warrior energy of authenticity. It's also Aries. So stand up, show up, and that's where also Gemini comes in. Also, find your voice, and you can be a warrior of the pen or of the voice, right? You don't have to go into physical battles, but everybody has this capacity to stand up for what really matters, and that is then the Taurus between Aries and Gemini. This is about our values and what would bring more calm and settled, grounded energy to this earth and into our earth body, right? So we don't need more trauma. That's also that's in astrology a Uranus energy, and Uranus has been in Taurus till 2018, 2019. So lots of disruption, lots of trauma, lots of shocking and surprise effects when it came to physicality, the body, the earth, and so on. So how can we outgrow that, says Jupiter? How can we find out more about it, get more information, talk more in a better way, rather than maybe also in too aggressive and polarized ways as it has happened before? So Mars Chiron. So Mars Chiron, as I said, exact tomorrow, and that will also help with being authentic, sometimes really in a raw way, in a very direct way. Show up as you are, and even though, and especially as it would be a brave thing, and yeah, and show up for yourself and as yourself. Then the other alignment this week is on Thursday, right? That's the 30th of May. That's when Mercury is still in Taurus, as I said, will meet Uranus. So that's once a year and happens on Thursday on the heels of this Mars Chiron transit. This is can also have to do with surprising, shocking, or a paradigm shifting, or really get you out of your thinking box, right? So news, there can be news that are shocking and surprising. Sorry, I didn't finish that sentence, but there can be also shifts of your mind, right? So Uranus wants us to be free and liberated. So liberated maybe from stuck, stagnant, attached mind forms. This would be wonderful to do meditation, to sit literally with Taurus and see how things can shift, how things are not as crystallized and as stagnant, as solid, so to say, as you might experience them at this point. We can also crack open that whole density energy, right? So Taurus is a very dense, it's the first earth sign of the zodiac, so there's a lot of density is accumulated and assimilated, but we need to also break, and it would be also great reminder to break habits, right? So with Uranus and Taurus wants us to also get out of our comfort zone rather than being kicked out of it, and experiment with different ways of engaging our senses. All of that is Taurus and Uranus in Taurus. And Mercury can bring new ideas and bring some mind shifts. And Mercury being the ruler of Gemini, right? So that's the bridge of that, and that will be the last transit of Mercury in Taurus before it goes into Gemini, its own sign, next Monday, the 3rd of June. So what else is going on this week? Let me just look at my cheat sheet here. Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and then yes, so Jupiter freshly in Gemini to get used to. Jupiter freshly in Gemini will have its first aspect, its first alignment with another planet, and that will be the trine, the air trine with Pluto, which is currently retro, just at the very beginning of Aquarius, so barely 2 degrees. and Jupiter will go into that alignment. We can already see it here on the chart of Jupiter's entry into Gemini. See, this is Jupiter freshly in Gemini, and then on June the 2nd, it will form this exact trine alignment with Pluto in early Aquarius. A trine is also a Jupiter transit, a Jupiter aspect. So the alignments, the aspects have also quality of the planets, like a square is a Mars aspect, Mars type aspect. A trine, so there's sharp, there's conflict, right? Versus trine is a Jupiter. It's really expansive. It's a very solid energy, also very stable energy. If you have a great trine, a triangle, that is that's a large figure, and it's very stable at the same time. So a Jupiter trine, a trine is Jupiterian. A trine from Jupiter is double Jupiterian, and so this is a trine from Jupiter to Pluto, and they're both in the same element. That's typically what trines are in the air element. So there is more opportunity coming in. What type of opportunity? Opportunity to come together with your like-minded people. This is Aquarius again. That's where the power is. And that's where new alchemy, new synergy, new conversations, new connections want to be made that really help us. Right? That's the Jupiter mentor also, and the benefactor. So it's not like coming automatically. A trine is more like an incentive, right? So we get opportunities are presented, and it's up to us to do something with that. And of course, with Gemini, it has to do with conversations, and or also reading. We come across interesting news and interesting dialogues that we want to share, right? That's again Aquarius, and then enhance that spirit. So it's a lot about friendship and communication and community. Then we have the last, there's still an aspect going on this week? No, I think that's it. And let me just go to the moon this week, and also where we are in Gemini in terms of the decanates. I always like to do that as well. So decanates, we're currently still in the first 10 degrees of Gemini until the 31st, and that has a Libra undertone. So here it's a lot about who amongst the diverse spectrum of people in my life, in my social circle, in my environment, that's all like Gemini, who is really good match, where is compatibility, and choices follow then as well, right? And also it has to do with all the news that and all the information that's swirling around right now. So what do you choose? What is really for you compatible really for your own way of being, and what would you choose? So, and then we have the second decanate starting on June 1st, going June 1st to 10th, and the center of each sign has a fixed energy undertone. So in this case, it's the fixed air sign being Aquarius. So we're having a lot of Aquarius energy, Aquarius Gemini energy coming in, remember? Because on June 2nd, we also have the trine from Jupiter in Gemini to Pluto in Aquarius, while we're having Gemini season with Aquarius undertone. Double whammies, I always like those. It's kind of a Gemini thing too, right? Not that I have Gemini in my chart, only a progress planet in Gemini. That's a whole other thing. I'm not getting on a tangent of. But back to that Aquarius undertone, yes, until the 10th of June. And that is a lot about learning, community, conversation. So I have, I can at least think of one friend born in that segment, and great friendship, always lots of communication, and lots of interesting information to share. So it's also about flying in a way. Aquarius is also takes to the air. Why? In what way? It's about a higher vision and perspective. And Gemini is the first air sign of the zodiac, and it is also spring energy, so it could be literally a wonderful time to go out into the world, to fly and be on holidays or exploring cultures and different languages, maybe, right? And yeah, I like that time of year for traveling, actually. Then we have the moon. So the moon is now waning, right? After the full moon, we had the Sagittarius Gemini full moon, last full moon of spring on the 23rd of May. And that was actually quite an uplifting energy. It was also pretty sharp and clear. I just shared that with a friend yesterday. The full moon was so super visible. Sagittarius has to do with seeing also, right? And understanding. And so that was the last full moon on the 23rd. Since then, the moon is waning, and the moon is now in Aquarius. So there's not so much Aquarius here. So the moon is now in Aquarius today, tomorrow. It was yesterday already, the 27th, today, the 28th, and tomorrow until the evening Pacific, 5:30ish p.m. So this is a great time, even though it's a waning moon. Waning moon is typically more like a letting go process, right? It's also an unraveling of the energy, or also a integration, right, of what happened in the building phase of the waxing moon, and in what showed up in fullness with the full moon. So it can be also a great time for perspectives of this whole Aquarian new world that is in the making, and to share that with friends would be wonderful, and come together with people. So yeah, I'll go and be invited at a parlor tomorrow with friends. We do this from time to time at one lady's place who's not so mobile, and so we join her at her home. And I always like to invite astrology friends to parlors at my place as well, and online. So we just was just one in yesterday for the Jupiter entering Gemini. So parlors are wonderful, a perfect Gemini Aquarius combination, right? Where people come together and share and learn. And there's also always the astrological perspective to it. So where we go through the transits, where we go through whatever is going on astrologically for everybody in the room, and also understand why we came together in this particular dynamic. This is always interesting in terms of the Aquarius, the system. How come we are drawn to come together with these particular people whom we might not even know yet, but we have so much in common with? Then, yes, the moon enters Pisces, as I said, tomorrow evening. Will be in Pisces on Thursday, all day Thursday, all day, not yeah, almost all day Friday until the evening, 8:28 p.m. So waning Pisces moon with Saturn, meeting Saturn on meeting Saturn sorry, on Friday, and then Neptune as well. So that is more like a real big release, right? And letting go process. The moon will be at that time also in square with the sun, so it would be a half moon, a waning half moon. So there can be also some kind of crisis situation, some kind of friction regarding the dynamics between vibes, energy, overall energy, and then the mental realm, right? So the sensitivity could get triggered by so much, you know, so much is out there now, and so many voices, so many people talk. And how do you feel about it all? Maybe you just need to go to see the to take in the voices and the sounds of nature rather than being more about around people. But it can be also great to tune into on the psychic realm, right, with Pisces, and then channel that, right? That can be also a nice Pisces Gemini combination to tune together and allow yourself to be a channel and to connect on so many ways, whether via words or beyond words. And we also, I intend to go to a music event with a friend on Friday evening. So, and then, as I said, Friday evening is also the time when the moon enters Aries. So that's a shift. And even though it's a waning moon, but Aries always brings in a new dynamic. So the moon will be in Aries Friday evening, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday until 10:55 p.m. So it will be an Aries moon weekend with Gemini running high. So get that. So if the energy feels a bit more dull or not so vibrant, not so much going on these days, or more like coasting, right? Get ready for this weekend. So hopefully also the weather will finally shape up here, and there'll be lots of interesting, dynamic vibes. Do something fresh. Just be playful and be out there. It doesn't have to be something you stick with. Aries is always taking initiative, right? And talking to people and connecting, learning something fresh and new, and picking up a book and all these things. Then the moon will enter Taurus on Sunday evening. Will be all through Monday and Tuesday next week in Taurus. Will finally enter Gemini on Wednesday late night, so at 1:36 a.m. Pacific, and that will be already the dark before new moon in Gemini. So next week will be the most Gemini week of the year. And why? Because once the moon enters Gemini on the 5th, it will be the moon, the sun, of course, the moon, Mercury, since or from the 3rd of June on, sun, moon, Mercury, then Venus is also still in Gemini. Jupiter is now in Gemini, and yeah, that's it. That's a lot. So it will be a super Gemini new moon coming up on the 6th, and it will be also a super new moon, not just full moons can be super moons, also new moons. So this new moon is also super close to Earth. That's why it's considered a new moon, super moon, even though we can't see her, of course, right? But we feel her. And we're in a series of a few super moons. The most significant one was a new moon total solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th. It was the total solar eclipse, and the new moon, the moon was super close to Earth. That's why the path was also pretty wide, and the effect was also super strong. So I believe that's it for now, and I could say so much more about Jupiter in Gemini, but I refer you to my news article, my Astro News article that I published yesterday. There's a lot of factors in there, the Sabian symbols for when Jupiter stations, so when Jupiter goes into retro and out of retro, which will be in October and in February, and chart of Jupiter entering Gemini. Lots of factors, lots of thoughts around what Jupiter in Gemini could bring, and yeah, there's lots to read, and so I to keep this a little shorter here. I wish you a good week, and yes, if you are a Gemini via Sun, Moon, Mercury, planets, nodes, ascendant, I have an offer for you on right now at this occasion of Jupiter in Gemini. From since yesterday, the 27th, until the 31st of May. Everybody with Gemini energy gets 11% off on a session, whether it's your birthday or not. Usually it's just a birthday week. And so let's do this and bring Jupiter on board to see what gifts it has in store for you. Wish you well. Have a beautiful week. Bye bye.